I took my daughter bowling a few weeks ago on a Friday night, and I checked into the bowling alley on Foursquare, and it said, "Oh, special here." And I'm like, "Oh, what's the special?" And it said, basically, for checking in, you get 2-for-1 bowling. So did that incent me to go to the bowling alley? No, my daughter wanted to go to the bowling alley. But did we stay longer? Yes. And therefore, did I have another beer? Probably. So they gave me a free game of bowling that there's no incremental cost for them, right? Some marginal electricity or whatever. There was nobody waiting for that alley, and we were there.
But if they had known, or if you would have known beforehand of the special,
yeah,
then maybe you would have brought a friend.
Right. Yeah, sure.
In
They use Twitter too, so maybe I did know of the special. But the funniest part of that whole story is that when I went to get the 2-for-1 and I showed the woman what it said on, she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's Foursquare. Somebody here must know what it is because you guys put this special out here." She's like, "Oh, well, okay. If you have a coupon for 2-for-1, that's fine." I'm like, "It's not a coupon. It's a Foursquare thing." But that's the only term she knew how to relate to it. So not everybody's kind of there yet. But I think my daughter at 8 understood more of what I was trying to do than the woman selling bowling shoes or whatever.
Absolutely. Interesting.
Funny.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
So if you had to, I know you talked at it in large, but I'm looking for a short snippet. The calendar of future is or does.
I think the calendar.
Start with the calendar of the future.
Yeah.
Like say the calendar.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for a snippet.
No. Deep breath. The calendar of the future helps you decide what you want to accomplish rather than drives your day for you. I think that's really, for me, the key is understanding what you're working on, what's going on in your social network, what's going on in your personal life, and gives you the information for you to decide intelligently how you're going to be successful on any given day.
Excellent. Very cool. All right. Do you think we covered, is there anything you think we should dig deeper on? We've talked a bit about analytics and data and so on.
Yeah. The only other topic we didn't talk about, which is interesting given what you guys do, is free time. The concept of free time.
Okay.
Because it is still such a pain in the ass in enterprise calendaring. And you guys have solved part of the problem at least. And when I pitch Tungle in my public presentations, whatever, I always start with if I want to have a meeting with you, Mr. Customer, what do we do right now? We send a bunch of emails around, we get our secretaries involved, everybody tries to figure out when they're available. Oh, wait, no, that person's on vacation. It's just such a huge problem. It's a problem within the four walls of most organizations, and it's 100 times more complicated because of the lack of interoperability outside the organization. And so I think free time, we thought we solved it pretty early on with Notes. We made a centralized database. You could get to that information offline. But, I see people within IBM now using Tungle because it's just an easier metaphor to say, let me say what time I have available, and we'll figure out what's best for everybody. There's too many people, and in the 2 years I've been an executive, I've learned this, feel like if they go to schedule a meeting and they hit that free time search button and your time shows available, they're entitled to that time. And that kills me. It is just unbelievable, the presumption that I get. And, I'm happy to meet with almost anybody at IBM or talk about a customer. That's what I'm there for. But let's make sure it fits with my workflow where I'm at that day. Maybe I'm free in that time to have a conversation in the car, but if you're trying to schedule an e-meeting where you want me to look at charts, it's not going to work. But you don't know that because all you're seeing is that little free block of time. So I think that one of the problems that's still ahead to be addressed, and I think Tungle's gone further than anybody else, is how do we make that free time concept effective and useful, not just, oh, look, there's a block of time. And you must face this because your calendar on Tungle makes you appear to be available Monday afternoon to Friday morning, but you're clearly not, right? So you're helping people with there's no barrier to get to you, but once they try, they have to work with you on what's really available.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very interesting evolution of how we evolved and things that we're actually implementing in addition. For example, when we first started, we thought, we always thought we want to solve the scheduling problem. Okay, that from the inception of the company, this is the pain we're solving. But then, and so then we said, okay, well, we need to do calendar sharing. And calendar sharing doesn't solve the problem. Calendar sharing gives you information. Calendar sharing does not solve it. It's not because I'm busy that I'm not free to meet you, and it's not because I'm free that I'm ready to meet you. It's like, it depends on the context of what I'm doing. So at one point we said, okay, well, let's try to do it so that people can propose multiple times and give the choice. So the idea was, without knowing whether you're free or not, let me propose multiple times and let people pick it. And then that was great. But then it was like, hold on, there is some valuable information in this calendar thingy. So let's try to leverage that. So then we started to do, and we showed Free Busy to people. And we quickly realized that at the end of the day, people didn't care about data. Like I didn't want to know when you were busy, actually. I don't even want to know what you're doing. I want to know when you're free to meet me.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Like, I don't care what you're doing. And so we flipped our thing around, and now it's available.
Yeah.
And you get to set the parameters of when you want it. And then with time, what we will do is that, depending on the type of people, you may have different types of profile that you want to share with different people. As well as you need to take into consideration, well, I'm available here, but it depends for what. Like this one, because I'm traveling, maybe it's just a phone call, maybe it's, and so it really depends on the context of what you're doing. So we're going to add some contextual stuff to your availability so that when people go to book a meeting with you, they'll know that I actually can't book it there because he's traveling.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And so this is the evolution we'll start doing. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's an interesting problem to solve, and we're having fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, I look at my day-to-day routine right now, and my normal assistant is out on vacation this week, so I'm working with somebody who isn't into rhythm with me, right?
Yeah, they don't understand how you use your time.
Yeah. And so the first day she looked at my calendar, she actually pinged me and she said, "Your calendar's a mess." I'm like, "No, it's not." But on my calendar, I have from 8 to 9 every day this week blocked for my daughter to get on the bus, right? Because that is my time that I need at home to get her, on her way. And so she pings me with can you do a 7 a.m. call? And I'm like, no, if my daughter's here and I got to get her on the bus between 8 and 9, I got to get her fed and watered and showered and everything else between 7 and 8. But if it's a week that she's not going to camp or she's not with me in my case, then sure, I would do a 7 o'clock call, right? So we're not in that rhythm yet. So it's that. And then I block my calendar at noontime every day so that it doesn't show up as free in free time search. Not because I want to take an hour for lunch every day. I can't remember the last time that happened, other than a meeting like today. Yeah. But because I want time to catch up on email, I want time to just be able to stop and think and not just have call after meeting after meeting all day. And so she didn't understand what those were for. And my normal assistant knows sometimes I'll take a call in that hour, right? If it's really important, she'll help me work through that. But normally that is just, I don't use that time, right?
Absolutely.
And then it was, oh, well, they want to do this face-to-face meeting in Chicago. When can you do that? It looks like you're available. And this assistant, she was so funny. She's like, well, I took your home address and the address where the meeting is, and it's 32 miles and says it'll take 47 minutes to get there. So I'll block an hour in front. And she thought she was being really proactive and helpful. I said, well, actually, for that location, I would take the train, and the train leaves at 12:30, not at 1, so I actually need another half hour. She's like, oh, so the train's not as fast as driving. I said, well, the traffic time you got from Google Maps, that's not real.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, if I could get there driving in 40 minutes, then I probably would, but not at that time of day in Chicago. So it was this fascinating sort of rhythm of what does she need to do around me having an actual physical out-of-home meeting, which I don't do that often, right? Because either I'm on a plane and I'm on the road, or I work at home, right? This IBM facility we're in right now, as I said to you walking in, I've never been here, right? I've been here twice before. I work at home, and my rhythm around that is very different than my boss, who works in an IBM facility, sits in a cubicle, has his assistant right next to him, goes to conference rooms for meetings. That whole world isn't my world. So, the calendar is the same, but it's not really the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I've had once an admin assistant for about a month. I'm like, nah, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
It's actually easier for me.
Yeah.
And it was not at Tungle. I mean, it was in a previous life. But and I was like, it's just, to train someone to understand how I want to use my time is like, I'd rather build the tool. So I started Tungle.
There you go.
So
let me turn the camera back.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I still don't, for about half of what I do, don't have my assistant get involved. Because it's not that I don't want the help. I do desperately want the help. But there's so many nuances to the way that I work, and she has to support other people too. Yeah, fine.
Cool.
At some point, you get it important enough that you have to do it. But,
Absolutely.
but anyway.
Cool. So I think we're good, unless there's something else. I think we've covered privacy, analytics, calendar future, visualization. We talked about. I mean, one of the chapters of the manifesto is life optimization, like how will all this stuff that we're talking about make your life easier? And I think you gave some good examples of that. And we talked about the past. So I think we're good.
Cool. All right.
Take this off.
Very good. Then I'll go to the restroom and we can talk about whatever else, and we can go to lunch early or whatever. It's totally fine. Well, that is the address, 10 North Martingale. So, okay, so Foursquare did know. It just didn't know where I am because I thought I was still alive.